I am anointed. I am royalty. So don't you mess with me. I've got the authority that he has given. I'm still alive. I am still alive.
We're still alive.
Thank you, Jesus.
Purpose can't die. No. Purpose cannot die. You're hearing this one from Trig Taylor. Purpose can't die. I want to welcome everyone this morning again to The Morning Flow. I am your host, Odette Thompson. We're now live on Facebook, YouTube, on different platforms on these social media. We're going to be having our brand new segment called Balancing on Purpose. And we're going to be talking to Apostle Nicholeen Williams. Purpose cannot die. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. There is a calling on you. And until it is fulfilled, we know that you will live to see it accomplished. I want to say welcome to all our viewers from across the nations of the world. Welcome to all our listeners from across the nations of the world. I am seeing Canada, Jamaica, the United States, the United Kingdom. Welcome to another show of The Morning Flow. I am so happy to be here with you this morning. We have a brand new segment, and it is called Balancing on Purpose. Can I tell you that I had to dig deep for this one? I've been playing around, let me not say playing around. I've been seeking the Lord with regards to Fridays, and I knew what the Lord was speaking to me about and what he wanted me to bring to the table for our Friday segment. And I knew it had to be around 3rd John 1 and verse 2. And it was on Tuesday that the Lord just dropped it in my spirit. So you see how important it is to be at the ready when the Lord is ready to drop something in your spirit, that you can hear it and say yes and run with it same time. And I'm so grateful that I had talked to Apostle Nicholeen before and I'd given her the heads up. I said, there's something that I have coming in on a Friday, and I know that you're going to be my very first guest. But until it was solidified by the Lord, we are here now, and nothing happens before the time. And the scripture, 3rd John 1 and verse 2, it says, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospereth." And so I was looking at that and I saw that it was talking about balance. It was talking about balance, that you are going to be prospering in the natural, even as your soul prospers in the spiritual. And so I have the ideal individual here this morning to be our very first guest. And we have Pastor Nicholeen Williams. And before we jump on into a conversation, I looked at the word balancing, and it says it's to be in a position where you will be standing without falling on either side. You're balanced. So you're not more to the right or to the left. You're not lopsided. You're in the middle, right? And then I looked at the word purpose. It says the reason for which something is done or created. So that's what we're going to be looking at this morning, balancing on purpose. Amen. Pastor Nicholeen, Apostle Nicholeen, welcome. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you loud and clear. It is just so awesome to have you with me this morning on the morning flow for our brand new segment, Balancing on Purpose. So,
Amen. I look forward to the discussions.
yes, me too. Can I tell you? I have some questions lined up for you, you see?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes, yes. I came prepared. I came prepared. I came prepared. So, to all our listeners from across the nations of the world, to all our viewers on the social media platforms, welcome, welcome again to this, the morning flow. You're seeing with me this morning my special guest, Apostle Nicholeen Williams, based out of wonderful, beautiful, sunny Jamaica. I wish I was there with you.
I wish
I
you
wish.
were here too.
I think the first thing I'd do is go down to KFC. As early as it is, I'd go to KFC. But I want to welcome you to our show this morning, Pastor Apostle Nicholeen Williams. She is a woman of God. She is a mother, a wife, a daughter. She is the the apostle that leads with love. She leads with a firm hand, but it is also a gentle hand. I see that smile because I know from firsthand experience that she leads with a firm hand, but it is also a gentle hand. And I want to say to my listeners this morning, you know, when you see individuals in their post and in their positions and in their purpose operating, it is not an easy task. But there's some persons that actually make it look effortless. And can I tell you, Apostle Nicholeen, you're one of those persons, you know. You
Oh
make the
wow.
thing look, man, can I tell you, you make it look effortless. I remember when I met you, I've known you for about what, 4 years now?
Yes. Almost
About
five.
almost five. Look at that.
Yeah.
And it felt like just yesterday. I remember everything. When I met her, I was amazed at how she balanced everything. And she does everything with such an excellent spirit. Everything is done with an excellent spirit. She does it effortlessly and it is done perfectly. And that is something that I'm not saying this publicly. I'm not saying anything to you publicly that I've not said to you privately.
Right.
You know how I feel about you and
Yes.
watching you work. Can I tell you, I take lessons from her. I watch and I say to myself, you know what? When I see her pushing through and keeping the balance, I say to myself, okay, I can do it. I
Mhm.
can do it. So this morning, I have talked a little bit about who Apostle Nicholeen Williams is. I just gave them some titles. But before we go any further, I want you to introduce yourself to our guests this morning. Tell us, who is Apostle Nicholeen Williams?
Amen. Thank you so much, beloved, for this opportunity. Greetings, HGG Radio family. It is really a privilege and an honor to be here. Since it's my first time being on the show, I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody. I trust that it's going to be an amazing year for you because I'm certainly expecting an amazing year for me. But God has been good to this girl, good to this girl. So as I said earlier, I am Nicholeen Williams. I more than anything else that I feel passionate about in terms of a description of myself, I am passionate and excited that I'm a servant of the living God. Persons throw that term around, but I am not one that throws that term around. I mean it with all my heart. I think from time to time people forget that God has options. He has options. And the fact that he chose me, this girl, to be doing the things that I do, he chose me to build a relationship with me. He chose me to be an influencer. He chose me to, just to be all of that, which Pastor Ode just spoke about. I am grateful. I consider it a privilege and an honor, and I do not take it lightly. To be me, I pray a lot to be me. It's not an easy feat. But as I said earlier, I am an apostle. this title, for me, is not just a title, it's something that I actually got commissioned in a dream. Yeah. A dream, and then a vision, and then prophecy. Everything came up about this whole apostleship, and I have embraced it. I am not saying that I am perfect in it, because it's the newest of the titles. So I'm still working that one through. Yes. I have been saved for over 20 this a couple days will be 24 years now, and I have been in full-time ministry. I came in full-time ministry like about 2 months after. So I have been in full-time ministry that entire period. I am a mother of one biological and multiple spiritual children, and I love them. And I pray the same kind of prayers that I pray for my one biological. I pray the same kind of prayers for my spiritual children, and I'm grateful for those, that God has afforded me to be a part of their, raising, or a part of their life. I am also a wife of 10 years to Minister Christopher Williams. I am an author. That is something that is new. And if you look behind me, that's the title of my book, The Secret Ingredient. Let me move, you can see it. To sustain relationship and power with God. The subtitle is A Wisdom in Humility. Really a good book. I have been getting really good feedback from it thus far. It has been touching several different platforms. From it has birthed a blog, so I am now a blogger. Yes, never thought that this would be my thing, but then when the book came, and after I completed the book, the Lord said, "No, you're gonna blog," and I was like, no, that's not my thing. But I am a servant, so if God says something, even if initially I might, eh, feel a little sketchy about it. Once he gives me the instructions, so I had to go investigate about how to blog and all of these nice things. So now I am an official blogger. The blog has so far hit 13 countries, and I'm really
Wow.
excited about that. Yes, man. Every time I get the report, because with blogging there is an analysis report that comes in, uh, and well, you set it how after you want it to come in, and mine comes in monthly. And so the blog has been all over the world, right? Feel good. Can I name a couple of the countries, please?
Go right ahead.
All right. So yes, so there's Jamaica, there's Canada, the UK, there's Germany, there's China, there's Singapore, there's Jersey, the country, not Jersey, the state. There's South Korea, there's France, and there's Australia, and the Philippines. I think I'm forgetting one, but that's okay. But you get an idea. So, and I remember this man wrote me from from Singapore, and he said, there are several people that talk about humility, but they don't know what they're saying. But you seem to have a handle on it. So I'm gonna come back to your page. I was like, wow, that's a nice way of, kind of a little, you're wondering, okay, are you insulting me or are you praising me? Which one it is? But I choose to think that he's praising me,
Yeah,
right?
man. He said he was coming back.
He was coming back. That's right. That was the encouragement I took. So it's been really a blessing. God recently opened up an opportunity on the international scene for the book. There's a particular pastoral group that I'm a part of that, have decided that they're going to help me to push it a little more. So I'm grateful for that as well. And I know God is going to do much more things with that. I am also a justice of the peace in Jamaica. So, persons will come from time to time for different things. Um, I am, well, I was a marriage officer. I'm getting back my license because I had to do a switch up. So, but I still do those duties as well. I'm also a counselor. God has been gracious to me to have pretty good success with where premarital counseling specifically is concerned. So that's been doing very good. And the couples that I have counseled have been, surpassing my expectations, honestly. So that has been going good as well. um what else am I forgetting? I have a new ministry. It's called Truth Speakers Ministry International, of which I am the founder. And so we've been growing steadily, and I'm grateful for that. Currently, TSMI, we sponsor two institutions on a monthly basis, financially, and offer prayer coverage and spiritual support to those two institutions in Jamaica. Um, or even though we're based in Jamaica, our membership is not limited to Jamaica. We have members in the United States as well that are just as faithful and committed. Um, what else? I'm a motivational speaker. Oh, and I'm also a chaplain. I'm a registered, licensed, and ordained chaplain. Yes, and this chaplaincy affords me um, to not just work locally, because I'm registered with GCA, that's Global Chaplains Alliance, right? And
Wow.
so yes, I'm listed on their page. So anybody, if people
Mhm.
from the US want to pull me, they can pull me. Anybody that really wants to pull my services, they have liberty, because I am a part of that particular group. Yes, I think that's
Wow.
yeah.
That was a mouthful. That was indeed a mouthful. Oh my goodness. People, are you keeping track of all the different hats that she wears?
Hmm,
It is quite a number of hats.
hmm,
You said something earlier, and I want to jump back to that. You
okay.
said that when you got saved, you actually jumped into ministry. And so
Hmm.
you've been in full time ministry from that time until now.
Yes.
I want you to tell me. I know that persons we see on a Sunday, you see the pastor comes, and I know most persons when they look, because I can relate to the other side of it now,
Hmm.
and they see you come on a Sunday and they say okay, and they think that it is all that just on a Sunday.
Right.
And so you've been doing this for quite a number of years. Mark you, I have not been a pastor as long as you have been.
Mhm.
So I want you to tell me, you jumped into ministry. You're brand new, brand new. Sometimes you have to, you do this, but you jumped right into ministry when you got saved. Tell me about that. How has that road been for you, jumping into ministry and being in it for this length of time?
Well, actually, I had somebody that believed in me. So he has actually been on your program before, General Overseer Pastor Steele, right? Right. So I got saved under his ministry. And when it was that I got saved, he saw something in me that I never saw in myself. And, he literally thrust me into ministry. So I went into full-time ministry within, it was actually, I think, the second month. And then but by the third month I was made a leader, and I got an entire community to evangelize and to come up with stuff for that community, within the third month of being saved. And so there's a whole lot of stuff that I learned, like Jesus' disciples. You learn along the way. you
Along
know
the way.
I learn along the way. And so I had a journey of learning along the way, and that's something that I'm forever grateful to Pastor Steele about. That because you have some leaders that are afraid to thrust you out there, because you're gonna embarrass them, da da da. But he didn't, and it wasn't until years after that he actually confessed to me. He said that when I first walked into the church, he said the Lord pointed me out and said that she's gonna be one of your greatest leaders, right? And
Wow.
so, but he told me this like years after. I was like, if you had told me this a long time ago, I would have been more encouraged. But it is what it is. But he really saw something in me, and I'm grateful for that. And he gave me that push, and he pushed me for several years.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. I'm loving that. And you touched on a point where ministry is concerned, because yes, we understand that, you can come into an entity or in an atmosphere, and the leader, sometimes they may see something in you, but depending on who they are, their personality,
Right.
and how they operate, sometimes they want to hold you and say, no, not yet. They see it,
Right.
but we have to give God thanks for men like General Overseer Steele,
Right.
that he wasn't afraid to put you out there. You're brand new,
Right.
brand new.
Right.
And can I tell you, it teaches a lot, because it says that he trusts you also.
Mhm.
You
I
know,
think he trusts the Spirit of God in me, and he trusts what God said about me. Because remember, 3 months is not a long time to know somebody.
no.
He does, so he trusts sufficiently what God said about me. And I
Mm-hmm.
think as leaders, and this is something that I currently go by, if it is that God tells me something about an individual, then that's it
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Okay.
That's it for me. So I will try to put things in place to facilitate what he says so that the
Mm-hmm.
person can grow in that area. And so, if you talk about even the church that I pastored before and TSMI, they call me Mother Eagle, because once I get a wind of your gifting or calling, I'm going to push you out of the nest, right? And then I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to create an environment to see to it that you're able to grow healthily in that gift. Yeah. Yeah,
I absolutely love that.
you have to trust God's word over people's lives. We look at people and we make certain judgment calls, and a lot of times it's wrong, because we
Mm-hmm.
have our own personal biases and we are limited in vision, but once it is that God tells me something, that's it. That's it. Till he says otherwise, that's who I'm gonna treat you as. That's who I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
call you to be, and that's what I'm gonna create. If I'm your leader, the environment to see to it that you're raised up as such.
All right. I absolutely love that. So you were pushed out.
Yes.
So he basically took you to the edge of the limb and pushed you,
Oh
right?
yes.
And you
Yes.
had to fly.
Had to fly.
You had to fly. So tell me now. All right. So you are brand new to the church. You're now a leader. Um, you at the time, based on the number of years that you gave me, you weren't a wife yet, but you were a mother,
No.
right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
I know from personal experiences with you, I know that you have your mom that is there with you. All right, so I want you to tell me. All right, so over the years, after being pushed out
Hmm.
on your own, basically to fly and to
Right.
strengthen your own wings, I want you to tell me, how did you balance being brand new with
Hmm.
now being a leader? Because I'm sure that you were now in charge of persons who were not brand new,
No.
right?
Exactly so.
Who were not brand new. So you brand new and they're not brand new, but you're now leading them, and
Yeah.
you are a mother. You have your home responsibilities. I want you to tell me now, in your own words, how did you balance moving from brand new to leader, balancing it with your being a mom, balancing it with you doing things with your mom? And I want you to go into even marriage coming into the picture. Tell me, how did that work? How did you balance all of that?
All right. Well, I must say that for me, the whole balancing thing came about through the relationship that I have with God. For me, over the years, I really and truly try to make that a priority. And because I've made that a priority, he helps me to prioritize. Right. So when my daughter was 3, when I just went into ministry, so she was a baby. So I had her. Um, I had my mom. My mom wasn't sick yet, but I had my grandmother who was sick. And I used to look after my grandmother because my mom was unable to take care of my grandmother. So I was living with my mom, my grandmother, and my mother, and I had to take care of my grandmother. All right. So there was that balancing issue with trying to do the PTA, with Janelle, my mom, and my grandmother. But like I said, I made a relationship with God a priority. And so he really helped me to navigate that. Being in full-time ministry as well in those days, because I was single, man, there was nothing that missed me. You understand? Nothing that missed me. So I was at church very often. There's no outing, no fellowship that missed me because I was extremely passionate about God and the things for God. So there was a season in my life where, truth be told, I was out of balance. And by the time Janelle hit prep school or elementary school, if you're in the US to better understand, it became a little challenge because then no, Janelle would be everywhere that I am. Right? And so this poor kid on the road till 2 o'clock in the morning because some services didn't finish till 2 a.m. And
Mm-hmm.
the Pentecostal children, they learn to sleep on the bench, they learn to
Yes.
sleep anywhere. So Janelle was like that. But after a while, there was a season where it started to take toll on her and affect her at school.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I had to use a little wisdom and pull back a little to attend to her, right? So sometimes things do go out of whack, but it is
Mm-hmm.
having enough sense to know when to, okay, all right, I'm out of balance, so come back into balance. So even when it is that you think about a scale, and in its natural sense. What do you have to do sometimes? You have to shift things around, put stuff on the left side to ensure that the right side is not too high. And if something gets added on the left side, you have to bring up back the right side. So it's the same thing with life. There are times when things are going to go out of balance, especially when something is new that is thrown
Mm-hmm.
on the plate. And you're going to have to readjust your scales to get back that balance, right? So my grandmother died. Then I had Janelle. Then no, Janelle was before my grandmother died, right? But grandmother died, had my mom. Then after mom, full-time ministry. Then after that, marriage. So now something else comes on my plate. So now I have to accommodate Mr. Williams. And at first it took me a little time because I remember one day I was at home and he came home and he said, Nick, where's the dinner? And I said, oh, I like totally forgot. And he said to me, please remember that you wanted a man in your life. Please remember the dinner. I totally forgot that I was now having to ensure that this man got dinner. You as a single person, if you don't feel it eat, you just don't eat.
I
Right?
can I tell you how much I can relate to that? I can so relate to that.
Right. So, then no, so I had to rebalance. Okay. All right. So husband is here. This husband wants a meal, a hot meal. So, okay. Now I had to start going into meal planning. So there are some things that I put in place. I try to be structured. I don't like things too difficult, right? So I usually try to adjust my life to accommodate the different things that come up, right? So for me now, what I started to do was, all right, we did shopping monthly. So what I would do is that I would just do mass seasoning. So once I buy the meat, I season up every single thing, put it in the freezer, and then I don't have to take this long time to prep stuff, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
come home late or he comes home late. It's quick 1, 2, right? And meal
Okay.
is ready because he wants a hot meal. So I had to put things in place to ensure that what he required was what I was furnishing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had to do meal plans, right? I did meal plans and I did things that would be easy for me to cook or to prepare as a wife. So he was
Okay.
good like that. You understand? So, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
when something gets added on this side, you have to come up with something on the next side to balance it back out. All right. So then husband. So then ministry started to take a different turn now because pastoring and that and the ministry growing. All right. Then no, I started to travel and all of these nice things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
um and so and God is adding more to your plate, it's like how they said that the what you say now, the reward for doing good is what is more responsibility, So when you do good at something, there's more responsibility,
Can I
right?
tell you how much I'm just smiling at that? 'Cause I'm looking at it, and I look at how this year started for me, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah. Once you do well in the natural and in the spiritual, once you do well, heaven rewards you with an additional responsibility, right? And we have that from scripture. You know, the story with the talents. What happened? He doubled it, and because he doubled it, more was added to him. The one that had the one, it was taken from him and given to the one that had the most, right? So things get added to you the more you do well. But one of the things that I appreciate about God is because He's a God of timing and He's a
Hmm.
God of seasons. If you consistently work with Him in His season, that's where the grace comes about. That's where the appearance of excellence comes about. Because anything that He ordains, He's going to facilitate it. You understand? And
Yes.
he gave me this analogy, Pastor, other years ago that I still teach and I still work with, right? He said to me that you have gears, right? So when
Hmm.
a gear, it will you have two gears and they're turning opposite direction to accomplish a particular function in a machine. Now when a gear doesn't have any lubricant or any oil between it becomes stiff. It can't move because there's too much friction. And sometimes it will either snap or it will just cease to move. All right. If you use your
Hmm.
body, the body has cartilages, right? That act as a kind of a cushion between the bones. When there's no cartilage, bones rub together, there's a lot
Hmm.
of friction and there's a lot of pain. And so he said to me that whenever I give you an instruction to do something in a particular season, or if I give you an assignment, once it is that you do it within that particular season, my grace will be to you like cartilage. My grace will be to you like oil, and you won't find friction in movement. Yeah? Because grace is a divine enablement for any task, right? So if you get married in the time you're supposed to get married, the grace is there to make it not be so hellacious, right? To make the transition not so difficult and so prolonged. Yes, if you start ministry in the time that he says, the grace is there to do it and to do it well and to sustain it. You understand?
Hmm.
So, whatever the assignment is, even though he's adding on one side, the grace is there to come and to lift up the other side to keep you balanced. Yes? So it's
Yes.
about timing, it's about you and God having this kind of an intimacy where it is that you are not operating and adding things that should not be added.
That is true. I can attest to that. And you have to understand when it's his timing, you need to move within his timing, because if you don't move within his timing, other things that you're trying to accomplish becomes frustrated,
Yes, ma'am.
and you
That's the
feel like
friction.
that's the friction, and you feel like you're kicking against the brick, and you're thinking to yourself, why am I doing all of this and nothing is working, when there is something else that God had instructed you to do, but you're not doing it. All right, so you have all of this on your table, right? I know, understand that there's a time for me to say no. I
Yeah.
know, I am very passionate about ministry. Man, can I tell you? Oh my goodness, I can do ministry. I don't want to say church. I can do ministry from morning till night.
In your
Remember,
sleep.
listen me, man. Can I tell you, when I sometimes I go to bed and I get the ideas, and I jump up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I get my notepad and I start to write and say yes, and this, and I'm so passionate about it and everything. Sometimes I go through the entire day and don't remember to eat. So, and I do not remember to eat. So now tell me, with everything that you have going on, right? How easy is it for you to say no? Can I tell you? I have to be training myself now. It's not easy for me to say no. Even when they come last minute with it, it's very difficult for me to say no. You tell me, how do you do that part? Because you are gonna be stretched where, all
Mhm.
right, so I know that Janelle is grown now, so you don't have the PTAs to schedule, but
Oh.
you are now the apostle of a ministry.
Mhm.
So you can be called upon to preach here. You are a JP, a marriage officer, a chaplain, and so people can be pulled. Oh, we want you to come and speak over here, speak over there. Then
Mhm.
Minister Williams can say, all right, I want us to go away for a weekend, when you look, it's the same weekend that they wanted to come and speak in the States. And you're like, okay, how do you say no? What do you say no to? Talk to me about that.
All right. First of all, I had to be delivered from the yes spirit. I I had to be delivered because, like you, Pastor Odette, I was just yes to everything, like yes to everything, and I would burn out. I would get sick. I would get very sick. When I say sick, I mean like flat out sick. Like God said, "Okay, so you don't want to say no? Fine, boom." I would be out for like weeks whenever I got sick. You understand? And that hasn't happened in years. And I think it's because I am growing and finally accepting that no is a complete sentence. I don't have to explain to you why. Um, I don't have to, I don't feel guilty about saying it anymore. um I think when it is that you are coming into a place of understanding more about your purpose, understanding more about the things that God would want you to do, the more you understand that and become comfortable about it, the easier no's become. You understand? Like, okay, is this lining up with the vision of what God told me? Is this lining up with what it is that is necessary for this season? You know, the Bible talks about it in Ecclesiastes, a time to reap, a time to sow, a time to all of that. And that
Yeah.
scripture has becoming more and more real to me. Seasons have become more real to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Based on all the things that I've been experiencing the last 3 years, seasons have become very real to me. And I'm learning that if it is that you are trying to reap in a season when you should be sowing, you don't have anything to get.
That's right.
There's nothing to get. So I want to be more purposeful with my life. I want to be more purposeful. I am almost 50, like too close to 50 to be thinking that, hey girl, you got a lot of time. It's like, no, you don't have a lot of time, right? And so, it's like there has been a switch in my heart to be more purposeful. And so saying no to something has become easier because I am more comfortable with who I
Mm-hmm.
am, with what I've been called to do. And also God has been really helping me to make first things first, put some priority and some structure to my life. So I am not gallivanting all over the place and feel like I need to, be there for everybody. No, I don't need
Mm-hmm.
to do that. Plus, some of us, should be told, Pastor Odette, is a Messiah complex we have. We believe, how we said Jesus is the answer for the world. Yes, the Messiah complex is when we believe that we have the answer to everybody's problem. Not at all. We don't. And sometimes, when we jump and help who we should not have helped, we put ourselves in bondage.
Oh my goodness, do I know about that one?
All
Do I
right.
know about that one? Yes.
So
I
I
am yet
have
to
been
be delivered
embracing
from the
no.
yes spirit. I'm I'm
Yes.
I'm I'm working on it. I am
Yeah.
working on it. Don't I'm working on it because it is true. You will get burnt out.
Yep.
And even when you mentioned that you got sick,
Mm-hmm.
persons don't understand because they see you up and down and it's like, oh my goodness, Pastor Nicholeen, yes, man, she can do this, man. Whenever she put her hand to it, we know that it's going to be well done. And they're not thinking about anything else more than having their project done. And
Right.
you wanting to, you know, not say please everybody, but because you have that zeal,
Right.
and it is good to recognize when God puts you down and
Right.
says, go rest your body
Right.
because you need some. Can I tell you, I had to actually just recently, I had to jump for some vitamins because I was feeling drained.
Right.
I was feeling tapped out and I needed to resort to the vitamins and start, then the older you get, you start take some afternoon naps.
Right.
I had to go
They
back.
they help. They help. They help. They help.
Yes,
So
so
I'm not a master at balancing, but I have grown by leaps and bounds with it, and I'm trusting God to continue to give me the grace. Pastor Torrey Roberts, he has a book out on balancing. I was privileged to hear him speak, and he was talking about no being a complete sentence. That's where I got that from. No being a
okay.
complete sentence, where he talks about all the things that he had to experience. With taking on a Sarah Jakes as his wife, and all
Mm-hmm.
of what that meant, and the church and everything. And so he gives a lot of tips too in his book. And so it is a common issue, a very common issue. It is not unique to anybody. All of us have had to come to a place where we recognize that, hey, things are out of sort. I need some balance,
All
right?
right. So I have a question for you. I have a
Yes,
number of questions, but I don't think I'm going to go through all of them. But you said something just now. So from the pastoral standpoint, you have, you know, when you have a member that will come to you, you know what, you have that member that is active in everything.
ma'am.
And I want you to tell me how you would handle them saying, Pastor, I'm taking a break. Not a break from God, but they're taking a break. How, because I know that some pastors will say, no, this responsibility, you can't do this, and and they don't look beyond. But
Mhm,
based on where you have been and what you have encountered and how you have grown, I want you to tell me, how do you handle your members that you see taking on too much, and the ones that come to you and say, yes, they want to take a break to just
mhm,
rejuvenate? Or do you say to any of your members, okay, take some time to replenish and to refresh?
mhm. I no well um with regards to the members, the current members that I have, uh they are persons that when they take breaks, it is always constructive breaks. So I appreciate that. Yeah. There are some persons that will come to you as their leader and say, I want to take a break, but it's not a constructive break. It's because you want to go be better all by yourself, and you don't want no restrictions, and you don't want no correction. You don't want to be told anything. And so they take a break because they want to be out of order, right? So I've had that experience, right? And
Mhm.
so God has graced me to be able to discern such requests.
Okay.
So when you come to me and ask about a break, if I discern that the request is not so that you can rest, or not so that you can go seek the face of God, I'm gonna talk to you about it. But
Hmm.
if it is that I discern that, hey, this is something that you need, I have no issues, absolutely no issues, because there's wisdom to that. There's no point, I've said it before on several platforms, wounded soldiers don't fight well. So
Love
there's
it.
no point in you feeling depleted, whether physically or spiritually, and I keep working you. If I do that, pretty soon I'm not gonna have use of you. And that makes no
Hmm.
sense.
That's right.
That makes no sense, right? So they take their breaks, and I inform who needs to be informed, and we have backup, and we run it. Not an issue for
Okay.
me.
Awesome,
Not
awesome,
an
awesome.
issue.
I love it. I love it. All right. So, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to find their purpose?
uh, Purpose can only be found in Jesus. If you want true purpose, it can only be found in Jesus. The fact is, we were created, everybody was created to do something specific, or some specific things. And just as how it is that for any major difficulties that we have with your vehicle, the dealer is always the best person to take it back to, it's the same thing with God. As creator, he's the best person to go to with regards to purpose. um Another thing that can help you with purpose is you can figure out what it is that you're drawn to. The things that you find that it is easier for you to do, things that you're very passionate about, those are indicators as to what purpose could be or what purpose could be surrounding, right? Those are little hints. So, from a child, I've been a talker, love to talk. To this day, I love to talk. So, I really and truly wanted to become a neurosurgeon. That's what I wanted to do. But look where I am. You know, I do spiritual neurosurgery. Yes,
Okay.
I deserve well. Right. But it's in God. But then, like I said, some indicators about purpose is to find out what it is that you're passionate about, what it is
Mm-hmm.
that you're good at, what it is that you find at ease doing, what it is that you're willing to do without pay. Those things are usually indicators as to, where your purpose would lie. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Awesome, awesome. I'm actually looking down on the trend on Facebook, and we have some wonderful comments. You are having people eating a good solid meal this early in the morning. It's just after 11 here, you know. So they're eating a good hearty meal this morning,
To God
and
be the glory.
they are loving it, loving it, loving it. All right. So tell
Mhm.
me now, looking back on all the years that you have um, accomplished stuff, the valleys, the mountains, what's one of your biggest accomplishment?
Ooh. One of my biggest accomplishments, um, apart from you're talking apart from my relationship with God, because everything for me, me going to talk about my relationship
Well,
with God.
we're talking about the whole picture. We're talking about everything that we talk about your marriage, we talk about parenting, we talk
Okay,
about
all right.
ministry.
All right. I think one of my biggest accomplishments has been my relationship with God. Hands down. For me, he's my first husband. Yeah. He's my rock. I keep saying he's a one person that has been absolutely consistent in my life. When I'm up, down, sideway, wrong way, I mean, he has been consistent. Persons have come into my life and they have left my life. Some have come and enhanced it, some have come and broken it. You understand? But the relationship that I have been graced to have with God, I'm telling you, it has been such a strength and a tower to me that at this point in my life, I seek not to trade him and it for anything, right? So that's my number one thing. The next thing for me is my daughter, right? You know, because I had a child, youngish. I mean, I wasn't a teenager, but still, your parents would hope that, you finish, you get your masters, you get your this, you do that. And I did not go that route, right? And so I was advised by many to abort. And when I look at my daughter today, I am glad that I didn't take that advice. I did not abort her. And I'm grateful for the joy that she still brings at 20 North. And she's now my best friend. And I'm just grateful for that I did not listen to anybody and abort her. So that's something big for me. Um, the book was something else. To write the book was something. To fund the book was something else. That was a mere. If I tell you that the way the book came about and the way the book was funded is a testimony in and of itself, because the Lord told me to just go big and done. So the book, the contract that I have is with Trilogy, which is TBN, right? And I'm saying to myself, TBN people
Mm-hmm.
is not cheap.
Mm,
It's not cheap. It's not cheap, and I actually had to pay for my book in installments. But can I tell you something, Pastor Odette? That
mm-hmm.
every time that the money was due to be paid, God did something to see to it that it was paid.
That's our God.
So I launched out by faith. And I remember the TBN, the executive at my executive at TBN, she was saying to me, she said, you know, you could start a GoFundMe account to do your book. And I was like, not feeling that. Not feeling that. I mean, that's how bad it was. Girl didn't have the money
Mm-hmm.
to do the book. Pastor, let me never
Mm-hmm.
have it. Can I tell you something? And then just when the first installment was due, a church called me to minister. And when
Uh-huh.
I ministered Pastor Odette, the offering that they collected, the pastor of the church said, you're the first person that has preached at this church and get so much money offhand.
Wow.
And it was enough. I think I had to put like about $4 more on it, 4 US more on it to
Mm-hmm.
pay off for the first installment. You understand? And so this was a big accomplishment for me.
Mm-hmm.
The blog is a big thing for me. The whole Truth Speakers ministry is a big thing for me because this girl had no desire to do ministry. Not like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my plan when I left the former organization, Pastor O,
Mm-hmm.
my plan, right, was just to go nicely into a church, feed up myself, and then just
Mm-hmm.
support the pastor, you know, and do all of these things. I decided, okay, since I'm almost 50, you know, I'm gonna go start traveling the world. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And then bam, God just said, not so, you know. But that was my plan. And but TSMI has been birthed, and so far it's been an interesting journey. It's been a
Mm-hmm.
humbling journey.
Humbling journey.
A very humbling journey. A very humbling journey. And I am just grateful that the Lord gave me the opportunity to birth something like that. Yeah.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So, to all our listeners from across the nations of the world, to all our viewers on the many different social media platforms, you are hearing firsthand information from Pastor Nicholeen Williams, Apostle Nicholeen Williams, how it is she remained balanced throughout the course of her years in ministry. You see persons operating in their calling. It's not an easy thing. But the first thing she did was to make sure that her relationship was solid, solid with the Lord. And I'm seeing persons commenting here on Facebook that this is powerful. You're giving some people wisdom here this morning on the 6th of January, Apostle, and they're looking at it differently now because you see, the thing is, sometimes we see people operating in their rightful position and we don't know what it takes behind the scene,
Right.
right? What it takes behind the scene for you to come and function the way that you do, right? Who could tell us that you forgot to cook the husband the dinner? I
It's
would
the truth.
I would not have thought that. But it happens. It
Yeah.
happens. Can I tell you, I remember once years ago when Courtney was way younger and I was so busy doing something and school finishes at a particular time. Can I tell you that I forgot to pick up Courtney?
It
I
happens.
I forgot to pick up Courtney and somebody came to me and they looked around and normally she would be where I am and they go, "Where's Courtney?" And I'm like, "Huh?" Mm. I'm like, "What time is
Happens.
it?"
It happens.
So, people don't understand that when you're doing this, you have to be so focused and you have to be purposeful. That's
Right.
what I'm learning now. You have to be you have to be intentional,
Right.
right?
That's the word. And
You have
everything that looks good is not good for you. And that is something that you're gonna have to learn too. And that every
mhm,
opportunity is not really necessarily an opportunity. Not every
mhm,
door is giving you access. Some doors are traps. So
mhm,
you have to really and truly be settled as to who you are, what you're about, you know, before it is that you know, you make certain decisions. I have another spiritual father now, and he was saying that to us that, he has been more intentional and more deliberate with his life, and he was
Mm-hmm.
encouraging us to do that. And so he was saying that every opportunity that comes, he analyzes it. Okay, what am I gonna get out of this? How much of my time is it going to take? How much of the resources I have is it going to need? Can I afford to invest at this time?
Mm-hmm.
And so he has been making more decision from an informed position. You understand? So, okay, if I jump up and I go preach this weekend, what about my family? What about my other assignment? Did I schedule a fasting time with God that I'm going to forfeit to go do that? You understand? Because a lot of times, the things that we take on and we exchange for, it's not worth it. A lot of times it's not worth it at the end of the day. It would have
Mm-hmm.
been best if you had stayed here, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so we have to look at those things and learn to really and truly prioritize. Um, Whenever it is that I start to struggle, and I still struggle every now and again, not with the assignments, but just some personal things in my life, I will get out of whack. And this is where another thing that helps me is having a good support system,
Mm-hmm.
right? And having people that you are holding yourself accountable to. You understand? So like my husband and like Daniela and Janelle, they will recognize whenever it is that I am going and they say, okay, rest time. True, I listen to counsel. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So sometimes, like I said, life happens, and sometimes your life will get out of balance a little, but you have to bring it back in balance. So it's a balancing act continually. So even the tips that I am giving, it is something that you're going to have to do continually. You're going to have to continue to make adjustments because life happens.
That's
Life is
true.
happening every day. And there's no 2 days that are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And so things are going to come that you're going to have to navigate. And so I have a good support system. And, I have persons that I hold myself accountable to, right? That helped
Mm-hmm.
me also to say, okay, I noticed that this is out of whack, and then I'll bring myself back into focus and then I'll balance again.
Okay.
So I want to say that because people think that, okay, there is a formula, and once I have this formula, that's it, I'm forever balanced. It don't work like that, because life is not that constant. So, since life is not that constant and it's filled with so many variables on a daily basis, balancing cannot be a formula. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be flexible, where you say, okay, different season now. Okay, before in that season, I was doing this, and that was perfect and created the perfect balance for that season. But come over into this season, that which was perfect then is now imperfect here because it won't work.
That's true. That's
Right.
true.
And so sometimes we become hard on ourselves and we're thinking, okay, I'm not sleeping the 8 hours. Okay, I am not exercising the how much days. I'm not doing that. Check your season.
Mm-hmm.
One of the scriptures that has become extremely real to me is the one that says, where Jesus says, take my yoke upon you, for my burden is easy. My yoke is easy, sorry,
And my
and
burden
my
light.
burden is light. And the Lord said to me, whenever it is that you begin to buckle under the pressure, it means that there's too much of you involved.
Oh, can I tell you? Can I tell you? Can I tell
So your
you?
flesh is still alive, and
Mm-hmm.
you have gone ahead and made some decision that you had no business making. You didn't wait for my counsel, you didn't wait for my instruction, and that is why you feel so burdened, right? And so whenever it is that I begin to buckle under any weight, I have to back up the truck. And
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back to God and say, okay, God, what is it that is off in my life? What have I taken on that I shouldn't have? Is it that I need some consecration too? because sometimes we go off on consecration and you mess up in different ways, and your hearing becomes dull, so you didn't
Mm-hmm.
even hear when God said, okay, Nick, stop going left, go right now. You understand? And so once there is any out of alignment, just like I told you before with that gear, man, if
Mm-hmm.
there's no grace, if there's no lubricant, there's gonna be friction.
Friction.
You understand? And so
Yes.
I have found that once it is that I'm doing stuff according to his will, within his timing, I am graced. And the one thing about I love about the Holy Ghost, he makes you look good and he makes you sound intelligent once you are in line. Every time. Every time he makes you, I could be, I didn't want to come on this morning because I said, of all the days Pastor Odette choose, I was not having a good hair day. And the Lord just inspired me to go boom, boom, boom with my hair. And I said, girl, he did it again. You look
Mm-hmm.
nice. And here he is making me sound really intelligent again because I'm where I should be, doing what I'm supposed to do and giving him glory.
I laugh because that is so true. Can I tell you? Do I know about that? Sometimes I'm before persons and in my head I'm like, oh Lord, have mercy. And when I'm done, persons come and say, Pastor Odette, da, da," and I'm like, girl, if you only knew.
If you only knew. Yeah.
I just want to give God thanks for you. I want to give God thanks for your life. I want to give God thanks for your obedience. And you are a trailblazer. And I have said this to you before privately, and I'm going to say it to you publicly that there are many persons that are watching you. I know that I'm one of them. And you're setting the pace for individuals because we're seeing how you operate. You operate, we look at Daniel and we talk about Daniel and we talk about his excellent spirit. He had a spirit of excellence. Whatever he did it with a very right spirit. And so we have persons that are living in this time and in this season, and we need to pay attention. They have excellent spirit. Whatever they put their hand to, they want to make sure that the kingdom of God is glorified at the end of the day. It is not about them. All right, so I have one last question for you. Can I tell you, I'm watching the numbers, and I'm looking to see if I see the numbers going down and the numbers not going down.
Well, bless God.
And so we are keeping them. They are so alert. And I want to thank all our listeners from across the nations of the world that are you're still tuned in to the morning flow, or brand new segment called Balancing on Purpose with our guest this morning, Apostle Nicholeen Williams. And she's giving us the tea. She's
Amen.
giving us the tea, and I hope that you're paying attention. Yes, you can go back to the broadcast, but if you're here now, I hope that you are paying attention to what she is saying. All right, Pastor Nick, future
Yes,
plans,
ma'am.
future plans, future plans. What are your future plans?
Whew. All right. So I am going to be, I can't say everything because this goes all over the place, right? But what God has been doing is that He's been putting me in places where I shouldn't be, where I don't qualify, where people don't think I belong, or people will say, how did you get there? Right? So there are some opportunities that have opened up, and they are based on what I'm getting from the Spirit of God, they should lead into great things. Um, this song says, I see me in the future and I look better. I see me walking in favor and much prosperity too. Yes. So I see travel. I see much travel. I see much
Mhm.
opportunity. I believe that the book will open up more doors, and I want you to know that there are going to be books.
Ah,
Another book is coming.
mm-hmm.
Another book is coming. So hopefully by the end of the year that book will be pushed out, because that one is taking quite a bit out of me. Right.
Okay.
So there's another book coming, and
Mhm.
there should be more international access soon. That's as
All
best as
right.
I can put it.
Okay. Awesome. 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 I appreciate how open you have been this morning with us.
Mhm.
Guess what? Remember now, you are the very first guest on this
Hallelujah.
segment, and you have set the pace, you've set the bar. And so we're looking forward to having other wonderful conversations with other guests. But I want to thank you this morning. I was going to ask, I'm seeing so many persons here I'm watching the feed, I'm watching the comments. I'm going to give one person a quick second. If you can quickly type a question that you want to ask Apostle Nicholeen, you have to type it in quickly because we're wrapping up. So let me see who can type in quickly. If you have a question that you would love to ask Apostle Nicholeen before she leaves us this morning, we were talking about balancing on purpose, and she gave us some insights as to how deliberate you have to be when you want to function according to the will of God. It's not easy, but when you're intentional, it look good and it look easy. But you
Right.
have to be intentional. All right, so I'm quickly, all right. I'm not seeing anybody writing any with any questions. Going once, going twice. Okay, gone. I'm gonna jump over to you now, Apostle Nicholeen. I want you to give me your closing remarks. Give us the wisdom. I know we had a wonderful conversation, but I'm sure that there's more to be said. Go ahead and wrap it up for us.
In wrapping up, um, you know, in terms of balancing, right? In terms of being the best version of you in any given season, you have to be submissive to the will of God. Rebellion doesn't look good in the spirit and it affects you physically, right? So in any season that you wanted to be the best version of you, immerse yourself into whatever it is that God would really want you to do for that season, because that will cause the best of you to be made manifest. All right. That's one. There are earthly things that you can do to remain balanced. Scheduling helps. For me, schedules help. I now have to schedule my conversation. So, there's sometimes when even Pastor Adette can testify, and she'll call me and she wants to talk now. And I love her with my whole heart, but I can't talk now. You understand? So scheduling does help. And sometimes on some days, not every day, on some days when it's very busy, I have to schedule conversations so that I don't neglect other important things that I have to do. So scheduling helps. It really works. At the end of the day, you want to live your life on purpose. You want to accomplish goals. And so, as Pastor Odette says, you have to be intentional, you have to be deliberate, and diligence is the next D word that I want to say. If you are diligent, the Bible says that the diligent shall be a rule. So, if you want to have an excellent spirit, if you want to continue to do well, then the way to do that is also through diligence. Amen. So seeking him diligently, and whatever task that is in your hand at the time to do it and do it well. Become a master at it, and you will get paid at a master's rate. Yeah, that's one thing God told me, that if you do well, Nick, I'ma pay you. I'ma pay you if you do well, but if you don't do well, you're going to get paid according to the measure of your work. Yes. So some people who are at home, who you don't have a job now, become the best intercessor, become the best studier of the word. God will pay you for that too. Yes, he will pay you because he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. All right. I think that's about it.
Oh my goodness.
That's about
I
it.
am full. I am full. And I thank you so much, Apostle Nicholeen, for these words of wisdom, these nuggets that we can take with us. It is awesome that it's the beginning of the year. So
Yeah.
for persons who are about to set their year, you're about to plan your year, right? And you want to be guided, you can take from this conversation and use it to guide how you want the year to pan out for you, how you want the year to go for you. I pray that the instructions are going to be useful to you, and that you're going to not only be hearers of the word, but you're going to be doers of the word. So, again, to all our listeners from across the nations of the world and to all our viewers on the different social media platforms, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining in this morning to our brand new segment called Balancing on Purpose. And so, as you go forth, I pray that you are balanced in season and out of season. And 3 John 1 verse 2 says, Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayst prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So thank you again, Apostle Nicholeen. Thank you to the listeners from across the nations of the world. I'm just going to pop over here to see. Okay, I am still seeing Canada, the US, Jamaica, the United Kingdom. Those are the countries that I am seeing listening, which is totally different from individuals that are watching live stream. All right. Okay. So I have persons jumping on now. They didn't jump on with questions, but thank you for sharing, Apostle. God bless you and your household. That is coming from Stephanie Brown. And she said, diligence is going to be my word for 2023. So see, we got one. Diligence is going to be her word for 2023. And so I pray that you be blessed. You know that I'm always praying for you. And I want to thank you again. Thank you so much. I know I get it personally. So I was a good girl this morning. I
Yes,
shared
you
today.
did.
I shared today. So thank you so much. And I pray that you will keep yourself under the mighty hand of God for him to continue to use you, and that doors will begin. Oh, I know that the doors are opening, and
Right.
that you have the wisdom and the strategy to walk in through the door at the right season, the right time.
I am being prepared, I tell you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so to all our viewers on Facebook and YouTube, we're about to sign off from this segment, and we're going to go back onto the listening side of HGG Radio. I'm your host, Odette Thompson. So for those of you who've been listening to the radio and you have not put a face to to the voice, yes, this is Odette Thompson. And so we're gonna hop over to the station. So continue being blessed. And I want you to just send us some messages. You heard this morning on balancing on purpose. I want you to give us your feedback with what is going on. And I know that there are persons that were commenting, but I want you to just shoot us a message and let us know how blessed you are listening to HGG Radio. So I sign off from Facebook and from YouTube. God bless you all richly. See you over on the radio side. God bless you, Apostle Nicholeen.
God bless you, and God bless you, TSMI family and HGG Radio.